2022, Ime Udoka was suspended by the Boston Celtics for the entire 2022-2023 NBA season after violating team policies. Now, it's important to know the year right before this, he took his team to the NBA Finals, and at the time, he was one of the most popular coaches in the league. But as you know, he got fired. He would eventually get hired by the Houston Rockets, and he would actually address these claims.
As you reflect on what happened in Boston, do you feel like the Celtics were justified in the actions that they took against you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my part in it was to take ownership and accountability for my part. You know, they had a choice to make a decision, and they went that route. And my thing was own up to it, take responsibility, and you know, I served the suspension and had to own it, honestly. So, same thing I'll preach to the guys. I can't sit here and not take accountability myself. So, it was their right to go about it however they wanted to, and that's the choice they took.
Later on in 2023, another black coach by the name of Mel Tucker, who was on a 10-year, $95 million.
Thank you. I'm just going to rewind it back for a second. So, yes, Ime Udoka was the first in, I would say, a long line, and I would say most recent years, more frequent line of black male head coaches who were given it all, who had stellar careers at big name basketball, football, pro sport clubs. That being the Boston Celtics, one of the biggest names in basketball, if not in sports. And he was subsequently fired because he had fraternized with a female coworker, actually the wife of his boss, literally. So, you know, and it went against what? You'll soon find out. It went against a morality clause. You see, if you are acting out of character on company time, your contract is null and voided. So it's imperative upon you to keep your pee in your pants and to keep yourself mindful that you should not ish in your own backyard, literally. And but again, Ime Udoka was his little head was controlling him over his big one, and quite simply, he fell foul of the law, and he lost his job at one of the great franchises in NBA history. Which subsequently, the following year, won the NBA title, and it was a shame because the club he had taken to the finals had just finished the job. Now that could have been him. Unfortunately, he was not there to be there. But fortunately for Ime Udoka, he got another chance in Houston. He's doing quite well there. Although, especially in last year, the team has come leaps and bounds and are now a playoff contender. However, uh, not as they're not performing as well as they did last year, but again, still he found himself a second chance, and you know, as a result of this, he lost his job, he lost his woman Nia Long, and he had to go into the NBA wilderness. But luckily, another team took it upon themselves to hire this man again because he's a brilliant coach. He was a brilliant coach, someone that was highly sought after in the NBA, and he got himself a job within a year and a half because one thing the NBA is good for, absolutely good for, is hiring minority coaches. I think they're the leaders in that regard. I think there are at least over 10 black coaches in the NBA, which is it's unheard of in pro sports. So the NBA are a leader in terms of diversity and diversity hires, and credit to them for giving Ime Udoka a second chance. Let's move on.
23, another black coach by the name of Mel Tucker, who was on a 10-year, $95 million contract with the Michigan State Spartans. Well,
Michigan State fired head coach Mel Tucker today for inappropriate conduct. Tucker was accused of sexual harassment during a phone call with a prominent driver, an activist that he had hired to speak to his team. The university terminating what's left of the 10-year, $95 million contract that Tucker signed less than 2 years ago.
Now, in the Ime Udoka case, he lost his job over sleeping with a white woman, despite being married to Nia Long. And Mel Tucker, who has a black wife, I mean, stop the show. She actually filed for divorce. He lost his job behind the white lady. And you would think that black men would get the hint, right?
So uh, the Michigan State coach Mel Kiper, he has he had a prominent job at one of the Big Ten biggest clubs in Michigan State. Had a $95 million contract, but he couldn't keep his pee in his pants again, and he was there to pay the price because we'll talk about how in the sort of slope that black head coaches have to deal with on a regular basis. But again, it clearly stated, you have these sort of morality. You have these sort of morality clauses for a reason. He stepped out of line. He slept with one of the I think Michigan State staff member, and as a result, the morality clause kicked in, and then he was fired. He was subsequently fired, and he was asked to move on. Something that was easily avoidable, especially when you're earning $9.5 million a year on a 10-year contract. But some people never learn, to be fair. And now it looks like he's at Colorado, but anyways, nonetheless, good a shout out to Deion Sanders for hiring him. I think he's still a very very good coach. He's had to learn his lesson, and as a result, he divorced his wife because of his infidelities, which was totally unnecessary if he kept his pee in his pants or did something different, which we'll explain later. Let's continue.
Sherrone Moore, a young brother from Kansas who was an offensive lineman, went to the University of Oklahoma, and he worked his way up through the coaching ranks. He coached tight ends at Central Michigan. He then moved to Michigan, became the offensive line and co-offensive coordinator, became the offensive coordinator. He would be an important reason as to why Michigan would win their national title in 2024. Once Jim Harbaugh went back to the NFL with the LA Chargers, Sherrone Moore would get an opportunity to become the head coach.
Now again, um, the former head coach, let's just get his name again. I'm sorry, Jim Harbaugh. The former head coach Jim Harbaugh gave him a chance to become the offensive coordinator, and once he did leave for the NFL and the Los Angeles Chargers, he saw him as his heir apparent and basically handpicked him to say, "This is my guy who will succeed me. This is the guy I want to take Michigan. Wanted to take Michigan football forward." So it took Jim Harbaugh for him to get the job because believe me, these sort of things, don't come by without some sort of ordainment here. And Jim Harbaugh actually did it, and he gave Sherrone Moore an opportunity, a great opportunity, as you'll soon see. Let's continue.
Chargers, Sherrone Moore would get an opportunity to become the head coach, but it was not without consequence.
They were going to get rid of him whether he had success or not. But the moment that they started losing games, Dave Portnoy and the Michigan Donors were going to run him out of town. Sherrone Moore now is coming off of a loss to Oklahoma. He has to sit out for 2 weeks while he serves a suspension on behalf of Jim Harbaugh. And Michigan's going to lose 2 more games because they're not even able to practice, speak to, or talk to the head coach of the football team.
See, here is something that we got to understand. Sherrone Moore and Harbaugh, they were in some kind of scandal with hand-stealing gestures from other teams, and it was a big deal. Sherrone Moore served some suspensions. Jim Harbaugh served some suspensions, and Harbaugh was kind of under like a 10-year suspension, where like any team in college football that hired him, it would be difficult for them to do it. Mel Tucker's in the same situation right now, so Harbaugh just for the most part couldn't stay in college football, and so Sherrone Moore was kind of that last tree that was kind of looming from the Harbaugh regime, right? And so people thought that he was going to lose his job anyway, but really that wasn't the case. I mean,
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. I mean, we have Sherrone Moore, uh, who has was given an opportunity through Jim Harbaugh, but he had to serve out his suspension. And that was part of the reason why Jim Harbaugh had to leave the Big Ten ranks, the college football ranks, because put uh, simply put, Yeah, simply put, uh, Jim Harbaugh was disallowed from coaching in the NFL. I mean, from coaching in college football, and as a result of not being unable to coach in college football, he moved on to the NFL, which is a immediate choice because Jim Harbaugh was, well, listen, he just won a national title, so it was a perfect opportunity for him to take his talents to the NFL, and he's doing very very well with the Los Angeles Chargers. So a perfect opportunity. It was sort of serendipitous that he would hand off to Sherrone Moore. Sherrone Moore taking on his capacity as head coach of University of Michigan football team. However, he still had to serve out Harbaugh's suspensions. So he was under the sword of Damocles. He was under the eye of scrutiny here. But things got way worse, as you well know. Let's continue.
He had the rebuild team. He went 8-5 in Michigan 2024. This year he's 7-3. They lost to Ohio State, but it was competitive, and they have a young team. So I mean, I think he's performing pretty good. He's 16-8 as a head coach at Michigan. But then there was a rumor that was coming out earlier this month.
He has a type. He has a type.
That's part of the reporting. That's his type. I'm sorry, but it's when I'm up to my fifth woman I've talked to, and they're all between the ages of 25 to 38, 39, and they're all skinny blonde white women. He has a type, and that he's allowed to have a type, but it's certainly unbecoming to be trying to meet up for dinner with various.
Oh no.
Okay, yeah. Have I said too much?
Oh no. Oh no.
Well, let's just say I've seen some of these exchanges personally, and
I think you're channeling your inside voice now, Justin. I think that's what's going on.
well, I can be a little more informal here, but and it's funny because and this is one of the callbacks I'm waiting on. It could be any minute, it could be an hour, I don't know, because Michigan they're well aware. Ward Manuel has had multiple conversations with his team up there, athletic director at University of Michigan today. They're very aware of what's going on. They've known what's going on for years with this guy, that's part of the reporting. If you've known about this stuff, why is this guy even here?
That role.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a Ohio State Buckeye YouTube channel show podcast, and they were discussing how Sherrone Moore has he has a predilection for the blonder among us, if you know what I mean. It was no secret that he would go on multiple dates with many of these women, knowing that, if you did not know, Sherrone Moore was married. Yes, he was. He had a woman at home. And not only that, he had a white woman at home as well, one of the Caucasian persuasions. And he still would carouse. He still would fraternize with those between the ages of 25 and 30 of the white variety. He has a type, as these guys on the Ohio State Buckeye podcast had been talking about. He has a type, and it was no secret. So he was literally uh, playing with fire from the start. However, it only really got worse when he dealt with the forthcoming facts.
Rumor would actually be true. Come to find out, your boy Sherrone Moore had been sleeping or at least trying to date multiple white women, around U of M. And the most important one is this lady, Paige Shiver. Okay. Paige Shiver joined the University of Michigan program in November 2021. She was working as an on-campus recruiting and football operations coordinator on then Jim Harbaugh's staff. All right. She was then promoted to her current role as executive to the head coach in February 2024.
Right. So, executive to the head coach. He was part of Jim Harbaugh's staff. So he had multiple close contact periods, fraternizations, relationships, uh, should I say situationships with said lady. So he only promoted her to um, executive assistant on his staff when they got on like a house on fire. So he said, "Oh, I guess you my at work lady. So to keep you nearer to me, I'll make you my executive assistant." So therefore, you see the power dynamic is now in play. Now, if Sherrone Moore was playing, this girl was in a totally different place, and he was having an affair. This may not have reached this level. However, when he brought her into his inner circle, a power dynamic was realized, and it was now known that these two were sleeping together. Guess what happened?
Shortly after Sherrone Moore took over the University of Michigan program. This is important to know. Sherrone Moore is married to a white woman by the name of Kelly Moore. They have been married since 2015. So yes, he was married. All right. Now, in the case of the other guys, Mel Tucker and Ime Udoka, both of them were in relationships with black women. But in the case of Sherrone Moore, he already had a wife, a white wife. And that's why the last clip said he has his preferences. Well, allegedly, he got this lady pregnant, Paige Shiver. They found out that he was sleeping with her. And then guess what?
So, ladies and gentlemen, not only had this gentleman, Sherrone Moore, been fraternizing with the help, he also got her pregnant. I am a supporter of black men. I try to advocate for their cause in every way, shape, or form. But this is beyond the pale. You can't. This is indefensible. How a man, as it will come out later, earning $6 million a year on a damn near. I think it was a good 5 6 year contract. $6 million a year would get himself in cahoots with someone on staff and get her pregnant while still married, mind you. That is stupidity on steroids, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why you must advocate, and this is for all men, you must advocate for decontrol, because if not, this may be to your end. Now, but again, this is the trap that that a lot of black men fall into, as seen by Ime Udoka and the Michigan State coach. We don't seem to learn. And the thing about it is, it's harsh. The penalties are harsher for us because as soon as for this is where I will get on my racist soapbox, which I don't usually do. But once you are a high-profile individual at a major university, a major state slash white university, and you create this power dynamic and uh, unnecessarily and quite simply stupidly fraternize with the help to the point of embarrassing the school, embarrassing the institution, you're going to get fired. There will be no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no turning back. Where for a white coach, they may have covered it up and put it under the wash. No, no, no. You are a black coach in a white institution. You can't do that. You literally can't do that. They will fire you. This has happened before with the former two coaches. It's happened again here with Sherrone Moore. But he thought he was above the law. He's dating white blonde chicks, getting them pregnant, and he thought, nah, and he married one too. He said, nah, the rules don't apply to me. Yes, they do. They will apply to you. And you fell for the trap, Sherrone Moore. You fell for the trap as in rather idiotic fashion.
They fired him. Now, after he was fired, allegedly he broke into that lady's house and there was some other stuff. I'm not even going to deal with that. I'm not even concerned with it. All right. That's for another day. That's not my point of the video. The idea is this man was getting paid $6.1 million a year. The rest of his contract is now voided. He's going to lose that money. Let's look at the reasons that a University of Michigan coach could lose their employment. The university has the right to terminate the employment of the head coach for cause in the event of any of the following. 1. Failure of the head coach in material respect to perform the services required of him under this agreement.
AKA, he's not doing his job.
Conviction of the head coach of any criminal offense involving fraud, conviction of any felony, which you didn't do. All right.
AKA, get yourself involved in any criminal shenanigans, you're gonna get fired. AKA, like Mr. Fernandez from the New England Patriots way back when he, himself.
Conduct of the head coach which offends against public decency or morality, as shall be determined by standards prevailing in the community, or which results in the reasonable determination of the university could result in material injury to the reputation, interests, or obligations of the university or program. Misconduct as defined.
That is the morality clause. If they see you as a prominent member of the university community being one of the more high profile figures of that university, being its football head coach, listen, the one who watches over the goose that lays the egg, the golden egg, if you are caught disrespecting or, how should I say, embarrassing the school in any way, shape, or form, it'll be up to the school to decide if you should carry on as its prominent head coach or not. They chose not. They chose not. Again, the and I'll say this because this goes without saying. It should be very visible to certain people, but some people it doesn't. It maybe took too many blows to the head as an offensive lineman way back when. Are a black head coach at a mainly black institution. There is no compromise. You will get fired. They gave you a chance and you blew it. There is no second chances. Off you go. It happened in Udoka. It happened in Michigan State, and it's happening here at Michigan. You have to be dumber than a box of rocks to think that bringing a woman in as your executive assistant to be your right hand woman and letting everybody and making it an open secret that you are dating slash sleeping with this woman, realizing the power dynamic, and then getting her pregnant at that, and nothing's gonna happen to you? No, no, absolutely not. They're gonna fire your ass. Now, something tells me it serves him right, all well and good, but at the end of the day, because he should have known better, but at the end of the day, this is the rule that black men cannot cross. They cannot fall foul of. And that is, if given an opportunity, you can't shit in your own backyard. Listen, simple, plain to the point. You can't shit in your own backyard. He did big time. Not only that, he had many women like this on his staff or otherwise, of which he fraternized. Before he was offensive coordinator, before he was an offensive line coach. He was a special teams coach. He did all these different coaching capacities, but it wasn't high profile, so they let that ride. However, now that he's Michigan head coach, and he was already under suspension for the Jim Harbaugh fiasco, and you can say that they can rely on that. Oh, he got to go.
And in sections 1 and 2A of University of Michigan standard practice. All right. When you go to C, him messing with Paige, the staffer, this is public decency or morality. All right. So this does create material injury to the reputation or the interests or obligations of the university of the program.
No big university backer wants to see their head coach get involved in the sex scandal. Absolutely not. It brings disrepute to the university. brings disrepute to the program. No, they have to set. They have to make him an example. Now, again, they could have easily swept this on the rug, kept this quiet, but they gave him $6 million a year. Guess what? You're not gonna listen unless you're clear as a driven soul, or white as a driven soul, or white like those chicks you like. You are not getting out of here. They already pissed off that you be sleeping a lot with a lot of them. Then you got another one that you slept with while in university as your executive assistant. Oh, they pissed off already. You've already got one as a wife. Oh, they pissed off already. They're only waiting to bring down the guillotine on your neck. They cannot wait. But you didn't realize. I mean, listen, it's it's like a fallen football star once said, "I'm OJ." He thought he was above the law. He thought that he transcended race. I'm taking all these white chicks' scalps. I'm above it all. I am one of them. No way they can imprison me. Yeah. But he didn't realize that that sort of hubris led to his downfall. That sort of solipsistic nature led to his downfall. So do I feel sorry for him as a black man? Yeah, in a certain capacity, but he knew the stakes he was going under. He set this up for himself. Again, and he had a wife at home. Well, what I did done, what would most high profile individuals would have done? Hire an escort. Get your rocks off that way. At least it can be swept under the rug and no one can be the wiser. But you decided, nah. This one right here now. This nobody right here. Yeah. We need to get onto that. Too sweet. Devil may care. But people are watching. You're always being watched, especially when you are such a high profile coach. You have got to be beyond reproach for you to be kept in that position. Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the last 19 years, if such a scandal hit him, believe me, he would have been gone 18 years ago. Even with the Super Bowl chance, they would have taken him out. He knew that he had to stay pristine in his temperament, in his affairs, and in his coaching abilities. You don't stay 19 years at a franchise that makes its name on keeping its head coaches through sex scandals. But clearly, this man, you know, he thought he was holier than thou. He just won a national championship. Something got to his head, and he decided, yeah, I'm bigger than all this. I'm OJ.
Right? Now, I know some people are going to talk about this and say that this is racist. This is what it is. Well, to be honest, a lot of coaches have faced this. Bobby Petrino, for example, Arkansas faced this same thing in 2012 when he was doing really well at Arkansas and just messed up his career. But what black men, and I keep seeing this, a lot of black men that get into these situations, number one, they have to be excellent to get them, all right? To get into University of Michigan State as the head coach, as an African American or Black American head coach, you have to be elite. All right. Now, once you get to where you're at, you have to show restraint. Okay. Because any little reason will get you out of there. I don't know why the guy felt that because he was the offensive coordinator of the national championship winning team, he had some luxury. No, he's not. All right. He's done. He's 39. You crashed out here. You got locked up after you got fired. So what are the opportunities?
Oh, yeah, I didn't add that. He did get locked up. I don't want to show that here. I'm not gonna. No. The man is embarrassed as is. He got locked up as well. He thought he was bigger than the program. He thought that he could do no wrong. Believe me, they're watching him. They're waiting for him to do wrong. And he did. In such an embarrassing and just foolhardy and brain dead way. Now he may just he may just happen to the way Coach Kuiper at Michigan happened. He may his wife may leave him too. She white, man. She I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. And again, maybe different. But anyways, you can't fall foul of the law, especially when you're just in your first year as head coach. That is asinine at the highest level.
For a young guy like this, almost none. Okay. You would need to go to a smaller school. I mean, he'll probably get hired if all of this can go away eventually. He's an offensive line coach. He probably has a recruiting pipeline. He'll probably become, some level of an offensive coach, offensive line coach. He'll have to have an extremely good pipeline. Maybe some school like Middle Tennessee State would take a shot at him. Maybe an HBCU, which you probably won't do that. Some school in the MAC, Ball State, Toledo. Then he'd have to win and do exceptionally good there. If he could win and do exceptionally good there, he would then get a chance to come back to like a Power 5 program, Big Ten school in the SEC, but he would have to do extremely well.
Yep, that's it. He's got to rebuild his career. He's got to start all over again, start from the bottom. He had a golden opportunity. He was ordained by Jim R. Harbaugh to be a successor. He was earning $6 million a year. You can't believe your luck when you get these sort of opportunities. They don't come around every day, believe me. And then he messed it all up. Now he's got to start again. Now he's got to start again from the bottom because not everybody's going to take that coach. Maybe an HBCU will take him on. We'll never know. But or maybe a small, Division 3, Division 4 school will take him on. And he has to build back that sort of goodwill all over again because of P. Simply because of P. And simply because he couldn't keep his little head thought better and more than his big head. Inexcusable for a man earning $6 million a year to just go brain dead. I'll hold women's feet to the fire, but when a man messes up like this, I'm going to call it out. You're earning $6 million a year. Do better. If you have those sort of urges, there are ways to take care of them. A lot of your big university backers would have helped you out in that respect. But no. Absolutely brain dead. I hate to do this to my fellow black African diaspora men, but an African American such as Coach Moore, but you deserve to fall on your own sword.
But why would you have to do that when you've already messed up your opportunity? Like, what is it about certain black men not understanding leadership? Just because you're making $6 million a year, guess what? You don't own the team. All right. If you're going to do stuff like that, I hate to say this is going to be controversial. You shouldn't do it anyway. And note that I said you shouldn't do it anyway, but you need to be Diddy. You need to own what you got. Okay. If you're going to act a fool, you need to own the business. You need to be so powerful that you can make a Ciroc sale. You cannot work for people in white environment and do stuff like this.
Absolutely, O'Shea. Absolutely. If you're gonna do something like this, you better own it. You better own the company. You better own the football team. Then you can do what the hell you want. Nobody's there to call you out. That's the only way you're gonna do this. But when you're at the Big Ten school, one of the biggest programs in the nation, you just won a national title. You've been ordained to be the successor to a national championship coach. And you decide that you're bigger than the school. No, they're going to punish you, especially if you're black.
And think that they're not going to catch you. When you're a black man, you have less opportunity to make mistakes. I really wish that black men would get this, But Mel Tucker didn't get it, Ime Udoka didn't get it, and Sherrone Moore didn't get it. And if you think that you're going to keep your job while sleeping with white women, and all of these guys have lost their jobs over white women, you are insane. I don't care if your preference is white women or not. Your preference needs to be keeping your damn job and stop being a damn fool. 39 years old, making $6.1 million a year. Then you're gonna lose your wife all over some cheeks. And I mean, no disrespect to the young lady Paige Shiver. I mean, you know, she's a nice looking Caucasian lady, but come on, guy. Like you don't have no other level of clapping like you can get with at all. You can't. And I'm gonna tell you one thing, she may get fired too, but guess who is gonna be looking like the person that's the evil one? You.
Guess what? And you know, this reminds me of, it just happened the other day. And we were talking about that Talk Live. We was talking to my man at Club Shay Shay. He had to give up 20 to 30 million dollars to that OnlyFans girl. Now she quit OnlyFans. That's the level of stupid we're talking about. That's the level of stupid. Black men fall into it all the time, but especially black coaches. It is the black head coach trap. And they happen to be white girls. Can you believe it? Here it is again. All three are dealing with white chicks. All three of them. All four. Now you call Shannon Sharp out. All four were dealing with white chicks. All four lost their jobs. Shannon Sharp lost it at ESPN. Ime Udoka lost it with the Boston Celtics. Coach Kuiper lost it with Michigan State, and now we have Sherrone Moore at Michigan. They'll never learn. You think they want to keep it in their pants? They'll never learn. You've been given huge opportunities at big schools slash media companies, and you threw it all away simply because of the P. And white P at that. I don't know what it is. It must be made of gold dust. It must be. If you are willing to lose millions of dollars for that P, let me tell you something. Some of the somebody not best I give that to me because I'll lose sight. I'll lose speech. It's like I'll lose. It's just it's just stupidity. I don't know what it is, and it happens to our black athletes all the time, and our black coaches, our head coaches. Here's another one who bites the nuts, given a prominent opportunity, and he messed it up. I'm gonna explain about this a little later. I'm gonna let O'Shea finish it.
So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it.
Thank you so much for that. Do sign up to O'Shea Duke Jackson, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. He's up to now 481,000 subscribers. Listen, he's been doing it for years now. Give it up to O'Shea Duke Jackson. But I want to turn it to another man right here. And where is he now? Oh, no. Wait a second. There we go. The one and only Corey Holcomb. Corey had a show yesterday, and he was speaking about the controversy, and a lot of his commentary hit home. Hit home to me, hit home to many who watched it. I want you to get an opportunity to watch it here. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Thank you very much for joining me here and Talk Live and IG, YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get it.
Other story, because of course it happened a week ago, but we, are only one day a week, so by the time we get to it. But there are new information that new information that unfolded from that Sherrone, is that how you say his name? Sherrone Moore? The used to be head coach at Michigan. With the staffer who had the so-called alleged affair. That's a lot of money to blow. I mean, for having an affair like that. Like what did he not think that if
Okay, listen, I want you to.
when you got busted, you were gonna. But you know what? Really quick, do you know that initially, when they finally found out, because they were doing like an investigation since October about the word on the around the team was that they were having this affair.
They were investigating this man since October. This man was under scrutiny. It was a public secret. And this man was fraternizing with this lady. His assistant, executive assistant. No secret. But he thought he was OJ. He thought that he was above reproach and scrutiny. He thought that I got it made. I married a white woman. I got another white woman here. Listen, I'm one of y'all. Right?
So they did an investigation since October. They actually went and fired her first. They let her go. So they found out about it. Now word came out in the news. They let her go, but then she was like, "Oh, hold on. 2 years this affair was going on." So apparently, when she proved that, look at this, boom, she is now back on the. That's messed up. Because where's her accountability? Where's her?
And now she's just fucking the new coach.
So now she's back on the staff, supposedly they say in the news. But
Well, you know what happened. This is something that
they let
happened
him
with the
go.
Michigan State coach.
Before Corey really lets loose, this is the trap that I was telling you. They're always going to give. Listen, I don't like saying this. I don't like entering this whole racial thing. But there's an old saying: the mafia looks after its own. And here you see, this woman was having an affair, a full affair, from which she became pregnant for 2 years. She proved that they had an affair for 2 years. Guess who's back on the staff of Michigan and who's off? No questions asked. Full investigation had. Absolute nonsense.
No, I'm saying, do you know what happened to the Michigan State coach who happened to be black? Same thing.
There he
Same
is.
thing, huh?
No, you didn't see that. There he is. Because he was, he's a B&E. He had a B&E offense. Broke into that woman's house. Let me take it back for a second.
She is now back on the. That's messed up. Because where's her accountability? Where's her?
And now she's just fucking the new coach.
So now she's back on the staff, supposedly they say in the news. But
Well, you know what happened. This is something that
they
happened
let him
with the
go.
Michigan State coach. No, I'm saying, do you know what happened to the Michigan State coach who happened to be black? Same thing.
This is what happens to people who do stupid things. This is what happens to them. They'll end up in jail. Because not only did he have an affair, not only was he lying for 2 years, he broke into that woman's house trying to find secrets, trying to reason with the woman. They locked him up. They arrested him. They brought him in for arraignment. Yeah, he's going to get out on bail. You know, it's going to be a misdemeanor and all. But this adds insult to injury. This is what, listen, as high as you rise, they knock you down faster. And here he is, left with his own thoughts. Simply, and I mean simply, the one of the greatest mistakes. Listen, him and Shannon Sharp are like neck and neck. At least Shannon Sharp didn't end in jail. At least Shannon Sharp had his own. He had his club Shay Shay. He had nightcap. He had other things going on for him that which served him very well. So he'll be fine. This guy now. This guy has some work to do.
Same thing, huh?
You can't legislate where a dick is gonna go.
Well,
You are foul for trying to do that. We are out here. We are human beings. And if proximity is part of the picture, dick is going in some pussy.
at a $34.3 million for 5 years, but now he can't get the rest.
Sorry, it was a 5-year contract. There you go. 30 million, 34.
He only got 6.1, so
But this is what's not being said.
it's a lot of money to
If
jeopardize.
you are around a woman, you can smash. Nobody's saying this. How are you going to legislate what's going to naturally happen between two human beings? If
Here's the thing, Corey, and I love you. The man is married. But again, let me say this, and we saw it here on Talk Live already. Most affairs happen at work. Most affairs happen at work. Where else can you be? Can you find people on their best behavior, looking their best, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week? You're in close quarters with people. You get to know them. It's easy, very easy to very easy to escape. Very easy to get your rocks off. Now, easily, this man could have, you know, the money he spent on this lady, he could have spent on an escort. You know, none's the wiser. He keeps his job. He keeps his 6 million going. He keeps his marriage and all this other stuff. But he never saw that. And no matter what Corey says about, that this should be allowed. This should be commonplace and shouldn't be punished as such. We're not at that place right now. We're never at that place. Morality is such that if you have a wife at home, white wife at that, and you went and you took another, as my uncle would say, scalp, and showing it off to the rest of them, they're gonna investigate you, and they did, and punish you, and they took your money away. That's the trap. You have all this ostentatious and opportunities of wealth, of generational wealth, something that'll set up your family for years, your grandkids for years. They're only waiting to take it away from you. They wouldn't have given you the job if it wasn't for a white man who vouched for you. You have to take those opportunities very seriously because they don't come around every day. There's no hiding place for Sherrone Moore, unfortunately. There's no hiding place for the Michigan State coach. There's no hiding place for Ime Udoka. There's no hiding place for, in a certain place, Shannon Sharp. But some people have to learn the hard way. It's like my mother said: if you don't learn, you must feel. He's feeling.
I'm around a woman, do you see how good I look?
Oh, this.
What these hoes love me, boy? That's why I can laugh when people joke on me and do stuff like that. When people joke on me and all that, I laugh with them. But I'm telling you something, man. And this is something that needs to be put in stone. If a real motherfucker around your bro, she is gonna be hypnotized by him.
He was one of the top ranking.
And because he had money, that made him real in them girls' eyes. Not the real on our end. See, on our end, like, you got feminists talking crazy about us, but a motherfucker who ain't got nothing but a backpack and a 94 Chevy putting his dick in her mouth. All them feminist bras. What was the one bra used to be on the internet? Cynthia G. got pregnant by a motherfucker who ain't got nothing up to date in his life. So all the feminists talk crazy, get smashed by guys who ain't on nothing. But back on this Sherrone Moore thing, or whatever it's Sherrone Moore, he's an emotional guy.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah, that was scary. Yeah.
When I saw him when Harbaugh got suspended when he was coaching in Michigan, he was like, Coach, y'all did coach like that. I was like, he was crying.
Oh.
You saw that, Phil?
What?
When Coach Harbaugh, when he was the coach in Michigan, and they suspended him, he was like, I was
Yeah, he got him his job. That there got him his job.
like, okay,
Ooh,
so he's
that's
an
scary.
emotional guy. So can you imagine a man, like just give me this second right here. Can you imagine an emotional man who's black, or some people say he's Trinidad? Look, he got it right there with him crying. Dog, do you know men who cry in public have no power over vagina?
I cried in front of a bitch one time, and yeah, that shit, bitch.
I mean, how are you crying because a coach is gone? I mean, I might cry if somebody I love happens to them, or I mean, well, let me make sure I get this right. A crying emotion can happen, but I'm saying, like, when I saw him crying on national TV, I was like, now that's how you get a job.
Yeah. Well, he got a white wife, and then he got a white side chick.
Why
So
he
you-
out there in Michigan living it up? He was the head coach, and as soon as I saw him as the head coach, I knew, I was like, he does not fit that job.
He's out on bond now.
Told you. Doesn't fit that job. This is a top coach at a top university, one of the biggest programs in the nation, ordained by Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, he's not supposed to have that job. He's not supposed to have that job. And these white people were pissed and saying, oh, okay, we have no choice. He cried, and Jim Harbaugh wanted him to be the successor. We had to give him this job, but we're going to make it hard for him. That's why I say, I'm going to offer a conspiracy theory a little later. Let's continue.
Look, they got a coach who's the longest tenured coach in the NFL, and all ESPN does is talk about, oh, he should get fired. And he's made the playoffs every year he's been there. Right. Coach Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When I see these black coaches, I feel so sorry for them because they have to get the job while they can get it, but they're judged on a different scale.
And therein lies the trap. Therein lies the trap. They are judged to a different standard. Abso-freaking-lutely. Any sort of mistakes made, any sort of show of weakness, any lack of success, and they want you gone. The standards are so very high for you. And especially when you're in a scandal, there's no one to cover for you. They had an investigation on this guy since October when it was no hidden secret. Now before, okay, fine, you got the white wife, you had an affair, but now you're having an affair with a Michigan staffer. They're gonna get you out of there. They didn't want to pay you the $6 million anyway. But you worked that to get to that position. You cried. You won a national championship. Jim Harbaugh handpicked you to be the man to take the program forward. Only looking to take that money away. Conspiracy theory incoming. Wait for it.
So the coach at Michigan State went down the same way this coach went down, over nothing. Yeah. Now, when he went to the girl house and threatened to kill himself, if that's true, you see he's an emotional guy.
Yeah, he's charged with breaking and entering, home invasion, and stalking.
That's not no excuse. He's an emotional guy. The quarterback from Minnesota did what the coach told him not to do when he danced in the end zone. He got the ball and he danced his way in the end zone. Do you know what they said on ESPN? They said, well, he's a growing young man. We all used to be like that. If Shador Sanders jumped up and said, yeah, we won, they'll be like, see, he's bragging. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, it's true.
There's a different standard for us. So this brother, unfortunately, he's got a steep hill to climb.
No matter if you are liberal or conservative, no matter if you are in the business world or in the corporate world or in the entrepreneurial world, no matter if you came from the wrong side of the tracks or the right side of the tracks, if given an opportunity to have a high profile job within a Western slash Caucasian institution, it's like your parents said, you have to be 2 times better in order for them to give you a break. They gave him a break and he wasted it. He didn't see the signs. He didn't listen to what many, I'm sure, had told him. He thought, I have a white wife, I have a white girlfriend, I got it made. I got $6 million in coming to me every year for the next 5 years. I got it made. I'm above the law. Well, now he's behind bars. He's out on bond, but all within a matter of moments. It's a damn shame.
He fucked
But
himself off, man.
what is his number one thing he did wrong?
Breaking in the bitch house and saying he gonna kill himself, and my blood is on your hands.
Because he might have had an opportunity to get hired again. I mean, now, I don't know. With
Now,
all
this
this
is going to really get me in trouble. I know what he did wrong. He actually started to believe that that community accepted him.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. He thought he was OJ. He thought he was OJ. He thought, I'm golfing with these people. I'm earning their money. I've married one of them. He thought he was one of them. I've taken over a big program. I played the game and I played it well. Hell, I'm OJ. See the documentary on the of shout out to Chevy for that one. That's his thing. The investigation on Netflix of the O.J. Simpson uh, endings and trial, and it points it out completely when O.J. was at USC when he was a running back there. He thought that he was a star running back at USC. This is during the during the height of the civil rights movement. He thought it was well accepted. He thought it was then, and then moving on to the 70s and into the 80s, he thought he was OJ. He thought he was. He never had any black fans. He commiserated with white people all the time. You know, if they were black people he commiserated with, they're usually in the sports realm. He thought he was above reproach. He thought he was above race. Sherrone Moore thought he was above race. I married one of you. I'm dating one of you. I've dated many of you. He had a type. I'm earning $6 million at one of your biggest institutions within the sport of college football. I must be OJ. How are you flying the faster you
Right.
He thought that he was part of that. No, you're a pawn, boy. You're not going to be the coach of the University of Michigan long. You're not going to, this is not for you like that. They do things to say, okay, we had one, and you see what happened.
Right.
No, wasn't that bad. See at this moment right here? I'll show you. Wait a second. This moment right here.
University of Michigan long. You're not going to, this is not for you like that. They do things to say, okay, we had one, and you see what happened.
Right.
That moment right here is when he thought he was OJ. Right here. Right at this point. He won a national title. He's been ordained to be the next head coach of one of the biggest schools in the land, one of the biggest programs in the United States college football. This is where he thought he was OJ. I got one of your women. I got one of your prime jobs. I'm dating some of your ladies. I must be OJ. I must be above reproach. I must be above the law. I got one of your plum positions. I've got it. I've done it. I've overcome race. I have climbed to the mountaintop where the snow blows and the snow blew.
He was part of Harbaugh's staff. Harbaugh helped him get that job. And it wasn't like Michigan went out, oh, we got to get this guy. Harbaugh let him inherit the slot. It only take a second to get in trouble over there. If you heard Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay, he said they could take you down in how long? 2 weeks. He had you think his wife finna stay with him? You think they finna be solid?
I don't know. They just showed their first public outing, and they were leaving his lawyer's office. She was the only one holding a lot of papers.
She tried to see how much money left.
I don't know. And then they have an itty bitty baby, so they got three, 4 daughters. I don't know, but they have an itty bitty.
He'll be visiting them kids.
Anyway,
he'll be visiting.
Every other coach had to leave their women, and if this woman is as feminist as she seemed, and remember the other two were they black women, so they died in both of them. They gotta go. They had Nia Long and Mr. Kuiper say they had to go. But we'll see if this one will take him back. But don't be so sure. Don't be so sure.
And them kids, you can't. You have to be smart enough to know when you're invited in and what you're invited in for. And there are some people you just can't teach this. They don't get it. They'll tell you you're crazy. But listen, he's the coach of Michigan.
Was.
Not long. They gonna fight. Look, Ime Udoka was in Boston. What happened?
They let him go. What do you mean? They throwed him. Yeah, okie dokie.
He did the okie dokie because.
There it is. There's his wife. There's his daughter. Young daughter. He thought he had overcome race. He thought he was OJ. Married her since she was 2015. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
A male organ cannot be legislated. You're going to sleep with. Is that his wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
White wife. White
Oh, man, she got the long jaw.
Yeah, she got that Rip Hamilton face. That's it.
You don't be minding them.
Good mid-range
This
shooter.
bitch look like a skull with a wig on. They look like they could make it. She might not go nowhere. She ain't got a lot of options.
She's like the McDonald's moon face. Look at this.
Yeah, but
Look at that, huh? Oh, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. He was doing that multiple times. They don't want to see this. This they don't want to see. They do not want to see. When you get one, the only time they want to see you is when you are. I mean, these are slowly changing, to be fair, but you know, I need not have to say. I shouldn't. I shouldn't have to say. I need not have to say. But this here, well, they don't like that.
Who knows what's going to happen to him?
Somebody say, can he be deported? Y'all stupid.
He from the Trinidad.
Oh shoot, that's right. Wow.
Hey man, listen, man. You can't. You're a visitor, dog. That is not your community. Head coach of Michigan. That is preserved for. Is it a coincidence Jim Harbaugh and his brother are coaches in the NFL? Is that a coincidence?
Nah, that's called nepotism.
Is it a coincidence that they force the Manning brothers on us?
No, hell no.
You are a visitor. You cannot kick it in that community, sleeping with their women, sleeping with your wife, even though that's your wife. Right. You have to understand, you're not really welcome here.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. No, they're not. Yes, we live in 2025, absolutely, and these things. But listen, they don't like that. They don't like it like this. They don't like it when you got a scalp and you keep scalping. They don't like that. Don't. They don't. They just don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. To see stuff like this stuff here, there, here, this stuff, I don't care for that. I don't care for that. Some are, have more progressive ideals, but a lot of them don't. They do not like this at all. Then you got a job after that? After you cried to get the position? Then you gotta throw it in their face to take one of them as your executive assistant. And the fix was in. They said, no. The trap is there. We've laid the trap. It's time to go. My conspiracy theory ain't coming, but he had this. He should have said, left it there. Yes, I've done it. As my uncle said, you got your scalp. Let's just keep this going right here. If I have any issues that have any ideas I want to get out, I'll get them out. I'll get them out my way. But he thought it was OJ.
We're going along with this, but we're going to get you out of here. Because what did he do wrong? Some rule they made up where don't sleep with the women you work with. How?
Well,
how?
That he might have been able to bypass, but then when he did that other thing after.
What you said, Darlene, don't need to be slid by. You telling me a man who works with women is not going to sleep with them? Do you know the law of proximity? When you get to know somebody, male, female, the chances of you two having, I'm finna get in trouble. I don't care. It's my opinion. Stephen A. Smith and Molly was an item. Stephen A. Smith on ESPN.
She must be about that money.
They boy, that's ESPN's boy. Right. And Molly was an item.
And she's still on the show?
No, she got gone. Molly had a terrible attitude. She was a straight bitch.
Right.
But she was allowed to stick around for a long time. That's how I knew. I was like, he got to be fucking that bitch. Because wouldn't nobody tolerate a Molly?
Right.
Molly is an awful person. Awful. I'm just watching her. You saw what she did to Alonzo Ball? I mean, the father.
Try to act like he was saying some disrespectful shit. Yeah.
Yeah, when, bitch, you fuck niggas.
Oh, that's the affair, broad.
You fuck niggas, bitch. The fuck is you talking about? He made a joke. I ain't saying the joke was good joke, but he made a joke. You took it too far, and you act like it was the end of the world, and they kept you around. But if men work with women, it's going down.
Well, and also, that's why.
And he's right. He's absolutely right. It is going down. Most affairs start at work. Close proximity with people 8 hours a day. You go home, you see them in their best selves, in their best light, then then the emotional cheating begins, and then the physical starts. It's happened from time immemorial, and it will continue to happen. However, in these sort of positions, with the amount of money this man was earning and the opportunity he received, he should have known better. He should have known better. All these coaches, Coach Kuiper at Michigan, Coach Ime Udoka, Shannon Sharp, they should have known better. And now we're known as the people who can't put their dick in the keep our dick in the pants, because it's happened time and time and time again that can't, we don't have any D control. Terrible, terrible decision making, thought process, not seeing the forest for the trees. Yes, you may get horny, but take care of it in other ways, my man. Don't shit in your own backyard. Now you lost $6 million.
We hear about a lot of people having, what do they call it, a work husband.
If your woman
They spend a lot of time.
got a job working around men, look at her face. She looked like the Joker when Jack Nicholson was the Joker.
That's Molly. Oh, yeah, that shit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Her face is distorted.
And that was Homeboy's wife, wasn't
That's
it?
her regular face?
Yeah, it looked like it was in the microwave too long.
That's whose wife? That's
She
Jalen
married
Rose.
Jalen
Right,
Rose.
Jalen Rose.
They had a brief marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, they're no longer married. Oh, that's
I love Jalen Rose,
very nice.
but he said something to me on the plane. I was so shocked and taken back because brother Jalen Rose was like, man, Stephen A ain't fucking my bitch. And I was like,
Oh, he told you that?
yeah. Because it's Jalen Rose. I'm so happy to see him. I'm such a huge fan. And at first he did it like this. He was like, because of
here
what
you
I
go.
said.
Right.
On the thing.
He had already said it. Well, I think people tag
watch
people.
the show. We used to have the same barber.
And people tag too.
And I'm
so.
not talking about Jalen Rose negatively. I'm a fan of Jalen Rose. I think he's a guy who tries to be a good guy.
Yeah, he a good dude,
But
man.
I think, unfortunately, just like a lot of guys, some guys are suckers for the hoes. Yeah. And that's not a diss. Because I know some of the world's greatest
Most
suckers for the
NBA
hoes.
players are sucker for hoes. Most all of them. And I know a lot of niggas in the NBA. I love y'all niggas. But y'all tricks. They big tricking, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Man, yo, bitch, what your bitch going to work with this motherfucker for? Stephen A. Smith is a cornball sellout. They used to have a dude on ESPN who was a guy everybody loved.
Stuart
Scott.
Yeah, Stuart.
He was a, you could tell he was a joy to be around. They used to bite his sayings. That bitch Linda Cohn, she used to say booyah. She tried to talk like him.
No.
The wrinkle-faced bitch. But now ESPN has replaced Stuart Scott, R.I.P., you know what I'm saying, with a boy. You can't be around Stephen A. Smith without checking him after a while. All
Yeah, Stephen A says, yeah, listen, he's done good work at ESPN. To be fair, I don't exactly agree with the sentiments of Corey Holcomb. Just doesn't extend. He does not like his political viewpoint, but at the end of the day, he does some good work. But he did trash my Raptors when they were on their 19 run. He thought they couldn't beat Philly, couldn't beat Milwaukee, and he thought Golden State was going to end their ass. So I will forever hold that over his head. Also, Jalen Rose is gone from ESPN as well. So the only one, really survived that. And even Molly Karam is gone. The only one survived is Shannon Sharp. So, I mean, is Stuart Shannon Sharp was on ESPN. He gone too. He gone too. But that was of his own accord. But guess who's still standing? Stephen A. Smith. Like him or hate him, he's a survivor.
Them guys who on the show, you could tell they want to check them. How did she last that long around Stephen A. Smith? Only reason she left because they still ain't pay her enough money where she could boast. She still had a car note with her check.
They should have a barber come do her eyebrows. That bitch got a lot of eyebrow hair, man. That
What if she got a real hairy bush, though? I want to see it.
Oh, my God. Okay.
She got 3 mustaches on her face, nigga. What the
She'll be like, why do you want me to put this mask on and get naked?
But
Bitch, don't worry about all that shit that don't matter.
That's Jalen's ex-wife?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. They had a brief marriage. Almost it was funny.
You ever seen...
Because, want me to tell you why?
Why was it funny?
Because Jalen Rose started working on ESPN.
Oh, that's
proximity, dog. People are not giving proximity its power.
Excellent point there raised by Corey Holcomb. Yes, they started their relationship / marriage on ESPN when Jalen and Molly were there. Then they became an idol. Then they got married. But it wasn't so much of a big deal then because it was a consensual relationship. He wasn't already married, and he didn't get the other girl pregnant. So all is well, all's well that ends well in that respect with Molly Karam and Jalen Rose. However, with Sherrone Moore and this other chick, the morality clause, y'all.
If I'm around your bitch, I'm probably fighting her off.
And the court crazy.
I'm just keeping it real.
Well, you already took
Yo, do you see this?
Oh, here we go. No, I thought he was going to take the whole thing off.
I'm a motherfucker.
Oh, let's go.
I'm
here
so
we
glad
go.
Jalen didn't fire on you, man. Then we'd have had to fight Jalen
We'd
Rose.
have tore that plane up, dog.
Oh, stop.
Jalen
Yeah.
Rose tall, but I ain't about to let nobody fire on me. No, I say this, I was hesitant to say it because last thing I want to do is burn bridges with Jalen Rose, but I was shocked that he really thought that Molly was standing on something about something. I'm like, dog, that bitch ain't shit.
And then they got
They
divorced
still
shortly
married?
after that. No,
They had a brief marriage.
Oh, okay.
They announced they wasn't married on the show. We ain't married no more now. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah.
But it was bad. It was bad. But he was around the hoe. How tall is Jalen Rose?
6'7".
If your wife or your woman work around an athlete, you better teach her how to get paper from them motherfuckers.
We play
because they
baseball.
gonna smash her.
You and Jalen?
Yeah, if you were on the show earlier, you could have played. Craig, you play baseball?
I can play.
All right, we're gonna get out of here with this. They've pretty much done it with Sherrone Moore and his commentary. But finally, hold on a second here. My bad. Yes, Jada Black. Yes, we got Jada Black here. Yes, I'm gonna go Jada Black here. Yeah, I'm gonna go here with Jada Black. Football coach Ron Moore story gets worse after he wanted to kill himself. Yeah, let's get into this here on.
Since news dropped of former Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore being fired, and the administration there said that he was fired with cause. And there was speculation, but also what happened after I posted my video yesterday was the fact that he was arrested right after he was fired. And apparently he was stalking and harassing, I believe, his mistress. And this is the woman who was his mistress. I believe her name is Paige Shivers. This man lost his job because he went and I guess he confronted her, let her know that she ruined his life and his career. He threatened to end his life. Sherrone Moore has a lot of problems. He went out very sadly over a Becky, over a woman that wasn't his wife. Yeah. This man is all over the place. And I want people to understand that this is what happens when you have no discipline. To where not only have you gotten fired, but you ruined your marriage. You ruined your reputation. And now you're out here looking crazy because you're threatening, according to reports, and we're going to get into it, he's threatening to end his own life over this. This is a very bad situation. And I said in I would hope that he'd have opportunity to move forward, but it looks like he needs therapy. Okay. The last thing he needs to be around anybody, especially women, that ain't his wife.
And you know who also tried to end his life? OJ. When he was in the white Bronco, heading down the highways and byways of Los Angeles, all those years ago. 30 years ago to be exact, 31 years ago to be exact. He tried to take his life too. All for the white pea. Lord Jesus.
And you would think in football and athletic department, he is not in that particular situation. So let's get into what TMZ had to say, because apparently they obtained audio of the police dispatch, which is, again, this whole thing, this story has gotten way, way worse than we thought it did. Thought it was. TMZ Sports has obtained dispatch audio stemming from the alleged Sherrone Moore assault, with a woman claiming he attacked her at her home on Wednesday after stalking her for months. Y'all see that? Stalking her for months. This man was head football coach of Michigan, of the Michigan Wolverines football team, was stalking a woman for months. Is it because she stopped wanting to have a relationship with him and he just couldn't take no for an answer?
No, because he ended his career. That's why. That's why he was, he got upset. But let me see if I can find this TMZ tape here. TMZ. Let me see if I can find this here. Yes, fair use, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see if we can.
5615530 for domestic. Subject just called the caller, told her there's a male at the location in the house attacking her. State's been stalking her for months. For the Pittsfield unit's reference to domestic, we just got a call from S1's wife in Ann Arbor saying that the subject is suicidal. Reference losing his job today.
Suicidal.
He walked out with 79. Clear. And just FYI, there's a U of M detective that's going to be making that location as well.
Okay, so you saw it there. Not exactly the best of times for Mr. Moore. He literally went crazy. When she put it on him, he literally went crazy.
See, this is the type of behavior that ruins a man's life every single time. The ability not to move on. That woman couldn't have been that special.
No, definitely not.
You wrecked your career over a woman that was 100% replaceable. And by the way, you shouldn't have messed with her anyway because she was working in the athletic department. She was your assistant.
There it is. Power dynamic. After the age of Me Too, you're going to lose. A man's going to lose that job. He's going to lose that job. If you don't shit in your own backyard, you're going to lose that job. If you're the coach, she's your assistant, there's a power dynamic, you easily influence her, bad news all the way around. You're going to lose your money. Because the morality clause still stays, and you have walked straight into the trap. Remark. They don't want to give you no money. Wait, that conspiracy theory is going to come at the end of the show.
The audio states a call was made from a Michigan football employee's address in Ann Arbor, Michigan around 4 p.m. The employee who was working for the Wolverines for years was the executive assistant to the head coach, the position Moore held until he was fired for having an inappropriate relationship with a fellow staffer. It is unclear if the employee was the alleged woman allegedly attacked or if the incident was just happened to take place at her home. The employee's name started to trend shortly after the news broke of Moore's termination, with several unverified reports stating that she was involved in the scandal. Her identity wouldn't be out there if it wasn't true. The employee has since deleted several social media accounts. You see, if it wasn't her, she would have came out publicly and said, that's not me, but she didn't because it is her. Later on in the audio obtained by Broadcastify, a report is made that the suspect's wife said that he was suicidal. And it's hard to make it out, but it sounds like it is due to losing his job today. It goes on to say that the suspect has a knife and that the U of M detective is either heading or already at the location. As we previously reported, Moore is currently behind bars in county jail, as in
He's now since been released from prison on bond, and he's awaiting trial for these charges against him.
investigation continues, and cops said minutes ago he is slated to go before a judge Friday. Just imagine you the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines football team, and now you're facing a judge in handcuffs. You talk about a guy that crashed out and just ruined everything, ruined his family, ruined his life over one woman. This is the weakness of a lot of you men. The male.
This is the trap that most men fall into. Morality clause, especially when you have big 10-year contracts. It's a shame.
Tucker situation taught you nothing, huh? You saw what happened in a situation. You said, you know what? I'm me. I'm Sherrone Moore. I beat Ohio State in my first season as head coach. And
He thought he was OJ. For generation.
then he started to believe that he could just do whatever he want and it would be covered up. I will tell you this, though. This is why I think that Michigan gets no sympathy from me, the administration, because they knew this information for a while. They knew that this man was having an extramarital affair, and they kept it to themselves because they wanted to see if he was going to beat Ohio State. If he would have beaten Ohio State, he would, first of all, he wouldn't have been fired. And secondly, this information wouldn't have came out. This extramarital affair, all this wouldn't have came out if he would have won. This is how dirty and grimy college sports have become. These schools hide a lot because Sherrone Moore isn't the only coach that cheats on his wife. A lot of these coaches do. They are just better at it than Sherrone Moore was.
There it is. They are better than Sherrone Moore was. They're not as brazen with it as Sherrone Moore was. He took the woman of which he was having an affair and made her his assistant. If that is not the height of stupidity, and hubris, I don't know what is. I literally don't know what is. Yes, a lot of these men, especially the men of power, especially high value men such as this, are having affairs. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But the one thing they do know is the 4 cheating rules: no embarrassment, no big ticket items, no pregnancy, no sexual diseases. You embarrassed your wife here. That's a strength. You didn't buy any big ticket items, that's for sure. But you did get her a big ticket job as a secretary, so we'll call that even. Then you STDs, there wasn't any STDs, but you did get that woman pregnant, Miss Shivers. So 3 strikes. got her pregnant, you embarrassed your wife, and you got her a big ticket job as your assistant at Michigan. 3 strikes you're out. You broke the cheating rules right there. Right there. So anything that comes towards you, you justly deserve. I just remember that. Rules. Yes, he did. He broke the 3 cheating rules. Then he fell into the trap. With the morality clause always there. Every person who is given millions of dollars from athletes to CEOs, unless they own the company, they all have a morality clause in their contract because they don't, number one, they don't want you to embarrass their company. Number two, it's a way to get out of a contract in a cheap way. If you're that stupid, yeah, we'll get you out of there. We'll get you right out of there. And here it is. He had it all, then he took the fall.
Sherrone Moore was cheating with his assistant as if people wouldn't find out. From what I understand, people knew that this was going on and they made jokes about it. Let's move on to this. Sherrone Moore's wife and alleged mistress were following each other on Instagram amid rumored affair. A new development has been added to the story of former University of Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore. He has been fired and has been arrested following allegations of having inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Justin Spiro reported that it appears that Moore's wife and the supposed staffer Paige Sheaver were following each other on Instagram. Spiro displayed pictures of what appeared to be linked profiles, or neither of these women have broken their silence since. Moore was dismissed from his position following the university's investigation that found him in violation of university policy.
AKA the morality clause.
They've been knew this. Yep. They didn't just find out. They probably knew this since the affair started. Yep. But they kept it to themselves until they were ready to fire him. And now they're ready to fire him. Head football coach Sherrone Moore has been terminated with cause, effective immediately. Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel said in a statement in December 2025. Following the university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior.
Let's read that through again. Yes. Following university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of the university policy, and U of M maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Yeah, zero tolerance for. But believe me, it's happened before. But as a black man, to be fair, you should know better. You should know better. I'm sorry. You should know better. If you're that stupid to fraternize with the help that you appointed yourself, because she was over here in the athletic department doing other stuff, but you wanted her nearer, so you brought her in as your assistant. Sleep with the secretary. You can't make this stuff up. Oh my God, you cannot. This guy is an absolute train wreck. Absolute train wreck.
There has been no mention from the university of which staff member is involved in this matter. There has been no mention of Sheaver from Michigan officials, nor has she commented on the allegations. She presently works in the sports division of the University of Michigan.
Remember, they hired her back. They fired her, but they hired her back, knowing that she had a 2-year affair with this dude. Knowing that it's Me Too, knowing that there is a power dynamic going on here. Oh, they hired her back straight away.
According to a profile of her on the Chicago Bears website. She is the daughter of Chicago Bears scout Jeff Sheaver. In 2016, she wrote about her life with pump disease, a rare genetic disorder that causes a person not to be able to break down glycogen in their body. This can then lead
Glycogen.
to build up of muscle cells that creates issues with heart and muscles. So that's a little bit of background on her. Listen, people, Sherrone Moore, this is the biggest screw up I've ever seen from a coach. Especially
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. You had Ime Udoka. You had Kuiper from Michigan State. You gotta do your research there, Jay. This has happened before, and it will happen again. Unfortunately, because men, men in general, black men in particular, don't know to keep their pee in their pants and to let their big head rule their small one.
a young coach, he's what, 39? You tell players to be disciplined and to work hard and to sacrifice when you yourself couldn't sacrifice your desires for your assistant. Now I've seen people say, well, maybe she was a plant. Maybe she came on to him. It don't matter. Find you an assistant that's going to do her job and not sit there and try to entice you into some sort of relationship. I'm going by.
There is the conspiracy theory I want to discuss. Was she a plant? Was she a person put in Sherrone Moore's way to eventually end his career at the University of Michigan? Potentially. No doubt potentially. But the fact of the matter remains that you should have the discipline not to fraternize with these sort of people. Not. If you have a predilection for white chicks, there are escorts everywhere that fit the description. And you can go to many of these huge backers of Michigan, a David Portnoy from Barstool Sports, maybe a Tom Brady, any of these people, and ask them, hey, is there any way that I can, solve this problem that I have? Yeah, I'll have a person. And they would have been done discreetly, nicely, and move on. It ain't tricking if you got it. But you decide to, you decide to end it with, to go down as, again, one of the more infamously stupid individuals of the modern era. But listen, stupid happens every day. It is hoped that this man can find his feet eventually and learn his lesson. He's 39 years old. He's still a young coach. Let's speak. Let's speak. Let's not. Let's breathe life into him here. He's still a young coach. He made a huge mistake, and it is hope that he can learn a lesson from this. He can learn from this mistake and move forward. Let's finish up the Jaded Life.
Their logic. At the end of the day, Sherrone Moore is the most responsible, and he needs therapy. He doesn't need football right now. This man threatened to end his life. A man with young children. Over the fact that he lost his job. You should have thought about that before you had this side relationship with your assistant.
Hey, I'm OJ. There's his OJ moment.
So ultimately, Sherrone, you're responsible for your decisions. Nobody else. People want to sit up there and blame the female assistant. Bro, you don't have to engage in any type of relationship with her. You're a head football coach. You could have found women outside the university. You should have been more discreet. But instead of you being discreet, you decide to use that as an opportunity to have your side chick close to you at all times. Because let's be clear, he didn't want another man dealing with her. Because apparently he'd been stalking this woman for months. What does that tell you? That tell you that this man felt like he was losing his grip on her. He apparently gave her a raise.
Remember the cheating rule. No big ticket items. A raise is a big ticket item. A raise is a big ticket item. You catch my drift? Big ticket item, embarrassment, and pregnancy.
And it looks like she was distancing herself from him and he couldn't take it. So he decides to stalk and harass this girl according to reports. This guy doesn't need football, he needs therapy. But this is just the biggest screw up I've ever seen. But I want y'all to understand, would we have known this if he had beaten Ohio State?
I think they would have known. I just answered Jaden Black's question. I think they didn't want to pay him the $6 million for the next 5 years. They were just waiting for a time when they could just end the contract. Shivers could have been a plant, could have not, but he didn't have to take the bait. He took the bait and he learned what many a black coach are learning, that once you mess up once, it's pretty much game over.
Let me know what you think in the comment section with me thoughts like this.
All right, thank you very much to Jada Black for this video here. Football coach Sherrone Moore's story gets worse after he wanted to kill himself after being fired. And we went to TMZ as well. So thank you very much to that. I'm going to go back to the main screen here. Back to the full camera as we get back into this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just sum up thusly. Uh, it didn't have to be this way. It really didn't have to be this way. You had it all. You had the contract. You had the wife. You had the kids. You had the national championship. It should have made for a fairy tale ending, but it didn't. It literally didn't. And you only have yourself to blame at the end of the day, because even if she was a plant from Michigan, University of Michigan, the fact of the matter is you didn't have to take the bait in any way, shape, or form. You didn't have to. You could have got your rocks off elsewhere, but you decided to not only fraternize with her and many others, might I add. If you go back an hour or so, it was Ohio State. Even Ohio State podcasters knew about this penchant that Mr. Moore had. And Miss Shivers wasn't just another one in the long line of that P that got himself in trouble, but it's that morality clause that rings true, and it's woven into every contract, every contract, even high profile ones, low profile ones. They have this clause, the morality clause. You can't embarrass your company either with fellow employees or not. They will fire you. A lot of these TikTok videos are made up of the morality clause. They will fire you. If you're doing TikTok videos with your uniform on, they will fire you because of the morality clause. So Sherrone Moore is just another sad and ridiculous tale of a black man who had too much. Way too much, and he decided to squander it. It is hoped that he can reclaim his career. He's 39, but Jada Black is right. He needs therapy first, because for him to try to enter your ex's household with a knife, wanting to kill yourself. Listen, therapy is the first priority right now. A football career is the last of your worries at the moment. But it didn't have to be this way. It simply didn't. And as a result of your hubris, as a result of your cocky attitude, as a result of your Benedict Arnold attitude, unfortunately, you fell into the trap. But many black men are there. Thank you very much on Talk Live. We're going to leave it there. Tomorrow night, we're going to get into another topic, probably dating and prostitution. Finally going to get into that, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow. So look for that tomorrow night, and how the two the two ideas, the two conceptions have merged in the modern dating scene, and how it is so detrimental to the modern woman. So we'll discuss that tomorrow night on Talk Live. But thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. We'll be back tomorrow night with another show. Look out for the promos on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Look forward to seeing you then, and we'll say good night to YouTube. To Instagram. Oh my God, it's still going after near 2 hours. Thank you. Thank you, Instagram. And we'll say good night to my people on YouTube. Good night.